Episode loading. Play. You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
The music industry can, it gives you your dreams and it can kind of take your dreams away as well.
Pineapple.
Hello, and welcome back to Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast. I say welcome back. This could be your first time because every single week we're getting more and more people joining the Freshly Squeezed community on the hunt for the best new music in the UK and beyond. If it's your first time, welcome also. I'm Jim Salveson, and today I have another 3 brilliant bands lined up, ready to go, that who knows could potentially turn out to be your next favourite band. On today's episode, you're going to hear from the fantastic Sleeping Together. Plus, you're going to hear from a man who was once the UK's youngest pub landlord at the age of 18, but is now one of the country's most moving songwriters. We're going to hear from Tom Bright about why now was the right time to delve into the back catalogue and release this into the world.
I don't get this game. Did you even tell me?
And Cottons are going to be joining me very shortly as well. Before we get into the meat of today's musical feast, though, I have one favour to ask of you. Like I said, the community is growing. We're seeing more and more people listen to the show and discover the show every single week. So make it your mission this week to tell one friend about this podcast. In fact, don't just tell them. When you're next out for a pint or when you're meeting them for a kickabout in the park or whatever, get their phone, get onto the podcasting app and favourite Freshly Squeezed in there so they remember to listen. That way we can continue creating this platform, we can continue supporting brand new music and continue to unearth some musical gems on the scene. So that's your job. My job is to crack on with today's show. But before I do, just see if there's anything worth watching on telly.
During the breaks, we catch our
don't
first
fancy that.
glimpse of the
Double elbow drop.
No, not that.
From the greatest concluding part of Race to Edinburgh.
Can this haggis go any faster?
I've seen that one. Ooh, this sounds more like it. Hey there, children. This episode of Freshly Squeezed is brought to you by the shape triangle, the number 5, and the letter C. C is for Cottons. Their new tune Candy, and Charlie from the band, who's joined by his friend Jasper, and they're on Freshly Squeezed. How do, boys?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having us. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for coming on. So, came out a little while ago, this brand new tune, and I was flicking through some of the mentions, some of the reactions to it. It seems to have gone down an absolute storm. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's kind of exceeded our expectations, hasn't it? We've hit about 2K streams in the first week, been on to chat with BBC. We've got a few things as well that are kind of bubbling away that it's been good. I think it's definitely exceeded our expectations from the previous tunes. It's been a good one.
When a tune goes down well, whether it's live or whether it's with the online reaction, does that change your relationship with it? Maybe do you put something out that's not your favourite, but then it goes absolutely crazy and you go, actually, no, I've always liked that song. That's always been my favourite.
You definitely do. If people like it, you're like, people are buzzing about it. It does make you feel different when you play it live.
Yeah, that is a good tune.
It seems to me like as a band, you've been through a bit of a change, a bit of a shift over the last 18 months or so. So does a reception like that to a new tune or something you're doing that's a little bit different maybe, does that give validation in your heads to what you've been trying to do?
Oh, mate, big time. Yeah, big time. I think for a band of our size, any win, helps motivate us and keep us going. Yeah. It's often not spoken about the fact that, people in our position work full-time jobs and all the rest of it and work crazy hours to make the band work. So when we kind of made these changes 18 months ago and we see the results off the back of it, it's really reassuring that things are going in the right direction, but also just fuel for the fire, isn't it?
Was there a moment where you made a conscious decision to kind of change stuff? Because it feels, listening back to your music now and everything you've done over the last period of time, it feels like it was more of an evolution than an actual kind of stop, gear shift, change direction. So was it a conscious thing? Was it a conversation? Or was it just you've kind of crept in this direction a little bit more?
Yeah, no, it was a massively conscious decision. So we changed who we worked with on the production side. I think kind of identified our strengths, but also where we're weak. And I think the production was definitely something that we needed help with, and that's where we kind of had the relationship start with Sugar House, which we feel has massively developed us songwriting wise, production wise. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's difficult at times, but they're like brilliant to work with and have pushed us massively. And I'd definitely contribute a large amount of success over the last 18 months to that partnership that we've had.
When you look at the differences between what you're doing now with the new tunes and the stuff you were doing before, how do you kind of sum it up? What differences do you hear in the music now between what you were doing back then?
They've like trimmed the fat, haven't they?
Big time,
And they've
yeah.
like kept it inside a bubble that all of the songs they live in the same world now.
Yeah.
We started sort of writing songs at the end of our last period before like Laguna basically, where we were sort of writing more stray songs, weren't we? And I don't think that's like a bad characteristic. It's just like anticipation of where you're sort of aiming for.
Yeah. I think as well we maybe like settled on ideas where we maybe could have been pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah,
So for
that's it.
Candy, like we took in a song that we thought was great, and then the song that came out the other end of those 3 days in the studio was completely different to what we took in. And it was difficult, don't get me wrong, but like without someone there to see the potential in where a song could be, it's quite hard to know that yourself when you're not versed in that way,
Definitely.
Like I say, the new tune's gone down well so far, but it's still relatively new out there on its own in terms of the tunes you've had that have kind of created that buzz and got those streaming numbers. It is Secondhand Living Room, which is up on 100,000 streams at the moment. Over that, does that then become the benchmark? When you have that tune that kind of reaches a level or reaches a milestone, do you kind of go, well, that's what we need to do from now on? And if it doesn't quite get there, maybe you're a bit disappointed.
It's a really good question. I think that the less focus that we've put on numbers and the more that we've just put into keeping on top of our social media and actively looking for opportunities and songwriting and all the rest of it, like the numbers have come with that. And I think it's easy to get yourself into a position where you maybe compare yourself to other people and, oh God, that band's got this, man, and we've got that. And it's like, we didn't think that would be a song that would hit 100K. So I don't think we set that expectation, but obviously that's a good...
It's the quality, it's like the benchmark, isn't it?
It's benchmark, yeah.
From then on, we can't do anything worse than that.
No.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with the new tune. Good luck with the summer as well. What are you thinking in terms of kind of next steps for the band? Is it too early to talk about debut albums or anything like that?
Yeah, I think what we're doing now seems to be working. We're happy sort of writing how we're writing until someone with big pockets comes along, Jim, and puts us up for an album. Nothing at the moment though.
The quest is out there to find someone with big pockets, preferably pockets that are full of cash, I assume, rather than just big pockets with like string and stuff in them. But nice one, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Useless.
Yeah. Pleasure to speak to you. Good luck for the year, and cheers for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
Cheers for having us, Jim.
Yeah,
Appreciate
cheers.
it.
You play a tight hand. Yeah, I thought I played my cards right. You're a night owl, soaring quickly through my lifetime. Come back around before I go down, 'cause it's my round. Don't mean to stare, something was there, now you're tired now. 'Cause there's no chance, if there's no chance, if there's no chance, if there's no chance. I wanted to come on with you, 'cause I know that your lips made of candy. I wanted to come on with you, 'cause I know that your lips made of candy.
Are you off, mate? You going? Nice one. You back on Tuesday for the quiz, though, yeah? Sweet. I'll see you there. You could defend your title. Defend your title. Sarah, can you get some wine glasses out? We're just a little bit short. Nice one. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Look who it is. Long time no see. Tom Bright. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. I'm good, doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, very good. What can I get you to drink as you've joined us in the Lemonhead Arms? What do you fancy?
I'll have a part of that mild there, mate.
Pint of mild. Wow.
Yeah, a bit of me, that.
Didn't realise we even had that on draft, to be honest with you. It's been a long time since someone ordered that. There you go, there you go. There's your pint of mild. Get that down. You any pub snacks you want with that?
Bag of scratchings, please, mate.
Bag of scratchings. Right, there you go. Given your past as Britain's youngest ever landlord, is there any tips you'd give someone working behind a bar like me?
Yeah, but don't do it. I'm joking. Be prepared to put the hours in. It's, you work every minute that you're awake, basically. If you're an in-house living upstairs kind of landlord, then yeah, it's 8 days a week, 25 hours a day kind of job.
Brutal. Not dissimilar to being a musician, I imagine, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about you, your new tune Tempestuous, and the new album as well that's coming soon, Young Old Bloke. So the tune first, it's a new tune in terms of what people have heard before, in that they won't have wrapped their ears around it previously, but actually it's something from a bit deeper in the Tom Bright archives, isn't it?
It's all from the start of my musical career, so all these tracks were intended to be my very first record. So when I was starting out, yeah, this is me. I was making rock and roll tunes with Mick Jones of The Clash, and it was just a very different to, what my existing fan base now thinks of me as this, sees of me as this stripped back, folky guy.
I need to come back to that casual name drop for Mick Jones in just a second, but firstly, why now? Why is this the time that you decided that the world needs to hear this music?
Well, I'd done this album nearly 10 years ago. And it was me, and it was a band. It was Tom Bright and the Dynamite. And, got to work with my idols on all this. And it's a long story short, but winding the clock back, the music industry can, it gives you your dreams, and it can kind of take your dreams away as well. And I won't bore you to tears, but there were a few reasons why this record never saw the light of day, and they kind of really, at the start of my career, they almost made me throw the towel in, to be honest, on it all. And thankfully, I kind of rediscovered my calling for it all when I started working with Ed Harcourt. But the album got shelved, and kind of just never saw the light of day up until now. We got these recordings, and went to Abbey Road last year, got it all remastered and stuff, and everyone is delighted it's finally coming out, including Mick, who I saw last month, and he's absolutely buzzing.
So has it just been sitting in a drawer somewhere? Did you not have possession of the master tapes originally? Has it been kind of like a quest to find them? What's the story behind it kind of now being the time?
Yeah, I was working with some people who, were kind of supposedly managing me, and it didn't work out, let's put it that way.
Okay.
These recordings kind of fell into that pit of, just not being able to be used, basically. And it was devastating for me. But after, we've given it many, many years and salvaged them and got them. So, yeah, we've got there in the end. It's just a brutal industry lesson, really, which unfortunately they exist. And you just got to keep your wits about you when you're doing this kind of stuff.
It's an amazing story, and it's great that they're here now, and it kind of adds to the romance of these songs being unearthed, really. And one of the things that does jump out from them is it doesn't feel like the music, as you called yourself, it doesn't feel like the music that you've become known for. It's kind of more edgy, it's more punky. You can hear the croonerish stuff in places, I think. I think you can hear your voice there, and it's just kind of covered in a different type of music. Was that musically where it started for you, or was that the influence of working with the likes of Mick Jones, as you said? Glenn Matlock appears on this track as well.
Definitely, I was this lad from Derbyshire who'd, moved to town, ends up working with, the most iconic people you could imagine if you, try to pursue a music career in London. And yeah, there was just that pure, raw energy and excitement and everything. And that is exactly where I was at. And obviously, twinned with Mick, who, as a producer, put all those, let's say, up the bracket by the Libertines. That record alone is just like this pure vibe cut on a record. And that was it. It was just a marriage of all those things, which ended up because a lot of these tracks actually we recorded them live because that's how they wanted it done. It's just like do the take, record, bam, and you've just captured it, you know.
You can hear that energy in there actually when you think retrospectively when you say it's recorded live. You can hear that it's kind of got that rawness to it, I think. Was there a temptation when you rediscovered these and put them out? Was there a temptation, given that they are from 10 years ago and given that maybe your audience has an expectation for a certain type of music, was there a temptation to redo them, maybe kind of like sand the edges off a little bit?
No, to be honest, because, you know, I think in terms of the writing, you know, from a writing perspective, with these being like songs that I'd written so long ago, it's more of just giving people the insight as to like, you know, how it all started, as opposed to taking an old song, feeling totally connected to it and going, oh, I'm going to have another go at that. Part of it's like a prelude now. It's like, that's how it all started. You know, I'd never had a music lesson, and as I'm self-taught with the guitar, you know, these were as close to music lessons as I've ever had, and they just happened to be with rock and roll royalty.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's time at the bar, mate. But thank you very much for coming in. Please respect the neighbours when you leave. But thanks for coming into the Lemonhead, the official boozer of Freshly Squeezed. Loving I was going to say loving the new stuff, but I guess it's loving the new old stuff. I think it's a really bold, brave, honest thing to do, and absolutely smashing it.
Thanks, man.
Tom Bright, thanks very much for coming in.
Cheers, pal.
How good is that? I love the story behind it, the legends from the Sex Pistols and the Clash that are involved, and the reasons for Tom to release that. What was supposed to be his debut single, now, despite it being something completely different to what people know him for. It's called Temptress. You can check out more from Tom and that tune, links in the bio as always, as is the case with all the bands featured on today's episode of Freshly Squeezed, including this lot. This is Sleeping Together, and then you tune The Essentials. So that is a taste of The Essentials. It's the brand new tune from Sleeping Together, and Alex from Sleeping Together joins me on Freshly Squeezed. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, thanks. So that's your latest indie rock bop, which marks 3 years together as a band, is it now?
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer, but I think that was sort of since we kind of pressed launch. We got together about a week before the pandemic, and then it was obviously like everything stopped. So we used to do a lot online. So yeah, officially about 3 years.
I guess over those 3 years, there's been a bit of a transition from knocking together tunes over Teams and whatnot and online in your respective bedrooms to then playing gigs out and about and being in studios. How have you found that transition? Because there's a lot of bands that are in your situation that formed during lockdown and then suddenly, when the world opened up again, it changed so quickly and so dramatically.
I think it was a relief. I think we've been in bands before, and it was good to just get back to it. I remember, like, we supported the lottery winners kind of last year in Wales at the Rocking Chair, and a few of our lads are from that way, and it was just like, this is a lot better than can you hear me on Zoom? So yeah, it's been nice to get out of the box.
Speaking of lottery winners, obviously they've just got their second UK number one album with Coco. You supported them before. They said in their kind of interview when they accepted the nice shiny thing that you get to put on your mantelpiece, they kind of went, this is a victory for grassroots music. Do you feel that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it is. I think being tied to them at that time was massive as well. You can see how much it is actually them. Like, they were joking about their audience. They were like, we were told that it'd be a sold out kind of the right generation, and it was just a lot of 40-year-olds. So that's just like, I couldn't believe he said it, but like, it instantly gripped the room, and like my folks had come down and they loved it, and it felt real. It didn't feel too polished and too kind of like there was a lot behind it. It was just very in the moment, and I think a lot of people if you hadn't heard them already, were swayed by them, definitely.
The new tune that you got out, Essentials, is this the first release you've done with the new lineup?
Yeah, really. It was composed by the old group, and then kind of we've slotted in. We've started writing again, which is nice. We kind of did a batch record, and we've kind of maybe got 3 or 4 that are left from that kind of era and that project, and then we started writing new stuff. So we're in the hunt at the moment to kind of find the right person for the next sound. So it's exciting. I like it.
Because it does sound slightly different to what's come before, I think. It sounds a little bit more complex, more mature. Is that because of the new members, or is that just because you were taking that step up as a band?
I think neither, to be honest. When we recorded, different members of the band have different influences, and I think we ended up leaving the studio with like 5 pop songs and 5 rock songs. So we divided it up. So when we released the EP, I Won't Tell If You Don't, that was kind of, we're going to tie that under the pop. And then towards the end of it, we released the single I Won't Tell, which is a little bit heavier. And I think the next set is going to be the kind of the more rock style that we can do as well. And the Essentials, I think, was the right place to start with that. It was going to be track 1 on the album if we released it on kind of as a 10 track. So it's been nice. And I think the next one that we're releasing soon is a very similar style. So I'm intrigued to see how things transition.
You've had Andrea, I'm going to butcher his name here, Andrea Casalio.
Yeah.
Worked with Wet Leg before, worked with Inhaler before, decent pedigree. What's he brought to the process?
I think patience is the main thing. No, he was good. A lot of things, he's good at, have you considered doing it this way? And we're all quite stubborn. A lot of people that work with me know that I'm very particular and like things a certain way. So it's nice to kind of have a look at the wheel again and see that there are other ways to get things. And he's very good at getting kind of a lot out of you, especially with me. I think we're singing. It was kind of the first time I'd done a lot of vocals, and it was like we were hammering it for weeks, and he just seemed to know what to say and how to guide me. And like we sat down and looked at things on a piano. I'm like, I've never touched a piano, so it was good. It was really kind of a good life experience as well as getting the results.
If you're quite stubborn in your approach and you've got a single-minded vision of how things should go, does it help bringing someone in who's had that experience and has kind of a proven track record, because you have to listen to them to a certain extent?
Yeah, so you're right. It's not always the way. Sometimes you're like, no, I want it this way, and then you record it, and like Andrea is good enough to be like, oh, actually, I do prefer your way. And then Catch 22, it's like, oh, actually, I kind of like your way. And then you've not really moved anyway. You both sort of enjoy one another's approach to it, and it makes you change your mindset for it, and you're kind of open to tearing things apart under the time frame that you've got. We did it all in about 6 weeks, which for kind of that many songs was quick, but time is money, so it was good. It was a good opportunity.
You got some exciting festivals lined up for the summer, including Truck Festival. How does it feel seeing your name on a poster with Blossoms and Kasabian and Courtine? Even if your font's not quite as big yet, how is it to be kind of built alongside them?
That's why we went for a long name, mate, so we could do it. That's the reason why it's not that big. No, it's good. It's nice to see. I always think about like being in a band. It's like being a football player. You're either a football player or you're not, but you were a football player before you got signed, and we're still on the Sunday League at the moment, but this kind of feels like the first, oh, I've heard of that band, you know what I mean? You might tell like your brother, for example, they'd be like, oh, I've seen Kasabian, yeah, I know them, that's good. We're at a different stage, but I'm really excited for it.
Well, we're going to give a spin to the brand new tune, The Essentials, that we talked about a minute ago. A song about a messy night out, this one. Is it autobiographical?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sometimes you think, oh, just let go tonight, and then the next day you regret it. But that was the time. I think I actually wrote these lyrics whilst on the night out as well. I seem to remember finding them in a notes page on my phone the next day and trying to decode them.
Wow, that's much better what I find in my phone after a night out. Normally it's like a curry order or something like that I've made a note. To lamb madras. Alex.
That's the next song, mate.
Yeah, look forward to hearing Boona and Naan Bread. Next release from Sleeping Together in a couple of weeks. Alex, lovely to speak to you. Good luck for this year. It feels like it could be an absolutely massive one. I'm really enjoying the slightly new, more complex sound of Sleeping Together as well. But cheers for joining me on Freshly Squeezed.
No worries, mate. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sleeping Together, The Essentials completes a trio of mighty tunes on today's Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast. If you want to find more from the bands featured on today's episode, hop into the links, hop into the description on this episode. You can find everything you need there, including where you can find more music from Spin Class, the masterful musicians who have come up with the theme tune for Freshly Squeezed that you can hear in the background now. If you're new to the pod, then don't forget to check out the back episodes. Some brilliant artists for you to discover there. Last week was one of my favourite episodes, which is well worth checking out. Not only did that feature the band The Red Room and Deadbeat and Almost Monday, but also had a live session from the Cavs, which you need to hear. So if you've not heard that yet, spin back in the timeline, give it a listen, and don't forget to be following this podcast for more new music very soon. Cheers for your ears.
Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. Theme music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.